Do you know anything about STEM? What does STEM mean to you?
It's just a little boring.
It seems like kind of like a chore.
I know it has like science and math in.
Once they got to the math, they lost me.
It's okay. Let me tell you a little bit about it. It means science, technology, engineering, and math. Does that mean anything to you?
I mean, I've heard of it.
No, not for me.
Math. It just sometimes makes my brain mess up.
Oh, that's okay. What are you into?
Love math.
Art.
Engineered machines. Lasers can distress the fabric to reflect the latest fashion trends, and chemistry is used to develop new color patterns. The careers of today and of the future all involve science, technology, engineering, and math. Your favorite athletes are supported by sports science, using medical training and math to help them reach peak performance. Adventures and thrills are made possible through new tech and engineering to make these experiences safe and fun for all. Science and biology let us study and protect animals and wildlife. Even in movie making, tech and engineering are behind the development of the best monitors, cameras, and equipment. Your curiosity, problem solving, and creativity is exactly what's needed to thrive in STEM. So what'd you think?
I thought that was so cool.
Did you have any idea that STEM could potentially bridge the gap between your passions and a potential career?
No, I really didn't.
I'll be definitely doing a bit more researching on it.
When you think of like all these like roller coasters and football games, I never thought of STEM.
As far as the creative path that I want to take, I believe STEM is absolutely worth it.
I think STEM is for everyone. If you find your passion and you find what you want to do, STEM can make it happen.
So what do you think? There's a lot more to STEM than, and it's woven throughout a lot more than we realize, the things that we're interested in and how much it's connected in there. Just a little insight, the Super Droid robots, that's a local company here in Fuquay. If you notice the clip, that robot was created for National Geographic to embed with a den of lions so that they could track and monitor and record them. The architect firm that you saw is Perkins and Will out of Durham, and I think there are in other cities. But the main architect, he was the lead on the African American Museum in Washington, D.C., and the Freedom Park that is being constructed in Raleigh. So you can see how much things that you come in contact with and that you will experience, somewhere in there, STEM is being applied and being used to make it possible. So that's about any questions, or Kate, is that protocol or not?
We do have a question and answer period coming up,
Okay.
Yes. But I wouldn't stop anybody. That was an awesome video, Mike.
Thank you. It was exciting. I mean, again, and I've been in, our company is over 25 years old now, and I can't get over how much technology just continues, and science and technology continue to shape our industry. And so if you to give that some context. So what MES does is hire college kids to take notes for doctors. So as you're seeing your doctor and your elbow hurts and they're moving it this way and they're moving it that way, and does it hurt when I do this or does it hurt when I do that? There is oftentimes someone in the corner of the room that's got a laptop open and they are documenting the findings of the physician while the physician is doing their exam on your elbow. And they're doing that so that the physician doesn't have to remember all of the different findings and what they're finding with your elbow, and that the physician can just be present with you for your exam. Now, over the last 6 years, we've hired hundreds of young people right here in the Triangle. We've made them scribes. We've hired them. They have no experience like this. We give them the training to do it. And then they stay with us for a year or two. And then they go off and become nurses and PAs for doctors themselves. So in that way, scribing is just a stepping stone into medicine. It's a job where young people can get a one-on-one professional relationship with a physician. They can learn, they have a front row seat to learn the medicine and the workflow of a clinic or an emergency department. And then they get a letter of recommendation out of that experience, and then we pay them on top of that for doing it. So it might be helpful to consider, like, what is it, so how does one become a doctor, right? Everyone that comes to us wants to be a doctor or a nurse or a PA. And so we're looking at these young people, and they fall into a number of categories, right? So a small percentage of folks go to a 4-year university. They get a science degree. So biology, chemistry, physics, they are part of every club. They get really good grades. They have a stellar GPA. They take what's called the MCAT. MCAT is nothing more than a SAT for aspiring doctors. In their senior year, they do really amazing on that. And then they get picked up for medical school as they finish their undergraduate. So they really have no gap year. They just go right from undergraduate into medical school. It's a really small percentage of folks that fall into that category. For the vast majority of young people that they finish their 4-year degree, they have a science degree, they were in all the clubs, they got good grades, they may have had a misstep or two with their GPA, all of us do.
And they may have held off on taking the MCAT until they were finished with their undergraduate. It's very common. It takes time and effort to dedicate to doing well on that test. And so now they have what we call a gap year. And young people can spend that gap year in a number of different ways. And medical schools are kind of interested in how you spend your gap year. So it's going to be something that they'll be talking about in an interview for that, particular medical school. So there's young people who are looking for something to do to augment their medical school application. It's oftentimes a part-time experience, so they can study for the MCAT and they're able to make some money and make rent right while they're doing all that. Now there's a couple of different options for that part-time healthcare experience. We've all heard of them, right? So it's you can go be an EMT, so emergency medical technician. You can ride an ambulance, be a first responder, get hands-on with patient care and emergency situations. And that's a great experience. It's a paid experience. You don't get a lot of interaction with physicians. That's okay though. It's a very common type of experience that someone would have going into medical school. You can also be a medical assistant or a certified medical assistant, an MA or a CMA. An MA will assist the nurse in the patient setting. They'll get blankets for the patient. They will make sure that the patient can call home, things like that. So you're doing like non-medical, not very hands-on, but you're right there in the healthcare environment. So that's a position that's out there to gain experience. You can do it part-time. You can go be a hospital volunteer. They usually wear polos like I'm wearing in the hospital. Now they don't do any patient contact, but they are helping the nurses, helping the doctors, and helping guide the patients, finding what floor to go to for X procedure, things like that. And then the other type of part-time healthcare experience is being a scribe, like I've just described to you. The advantage of being a scribe is that you're one-on-one with the physician, you're right there in person, or you do it virtually. And you get to watch the diagnosis. You get to watch that doctor do the diagnosis 12 to 20 times a day. So they're doing their Sherlock Holmes bit where they're listening to everything that's happening with a patient and they are making that diagnosis. As far as diversity in medicine, so no secret, you just Google this, right? It's Black and Hispanic Americans underrepresented in medicine, especially at the highest levels. So the levels that we're talking about, nurses, physicians, assistants, and doctors, they're underrepresented in med scribes too. It's something we're working hard to change, given talks like this. The last bit is, what makes a great scribe? What makes for a great medical scribe? So you're in your third or your fourth year at university. You're planning on taking a gap year. You're studying science. The most important thing about being a great scribe is that you want to be a nurse, a physician's assistant, or a physician. You aspire to go do the type of medicine that you're documenting every day. You want to be in the driver's seat for that patient experience. Or you want to be a supporter. If you're a nurse or a PA, you want to be a supporter of that patient experience. They have a driver's license, pass background check. You may have taken some college level terminology, medical terminology, type 60 words a minute. You have a flexible schedule. And then we also look for helpful, curious people that work well under pressure. So you got to be helpful because you're ultimately help a physician document their day. Want you to be curious because we're going to throw all sorts of terms at you, and you're going to get thrown into a medical setting that perhaps you've never been in before. And so self-learning, self-guided learning outside of the work is really important so that you can come up to speed quickly. Then you got to work well under pressure. So it might not look like it when you're seeing your physician that there's any pressure there, but the physician is doing something very specialized, and we as supporters of that, we don't want to slow them up. So we want to be able to come up to speed very quickly and to help them out. That's it in a nutshell. That's what we do. Again, right here in Fuquay, we support hundreds of physicians in the central North Carolina, have over 100 scribes working, and we've replaced those scribes because remember they only stay with us for a year or two. So we've replaced those 100 scribes several times over, and all young people, all getting into medicine. I've heard all sorts of stories from them on just the journey to get into healthcare. We know the role that we play, and that is a small one. It's right at the front end. A lot of the folks that come to us don't have a physician in the family, a first generation in medicine, and they're trying to find a way to get looked at for medical school. It's a very competitive process, but we found that with this kind of experience, this kind of scribing experience, it gives young people something really interesting to talk about in their interviews. They're surrounded by 100 or so folks that are applying with them. So there's this peer component to it. And then while I'm not a physician, my partner, and I have two partners in this company, one of them is a physician, and he writes about 30 letters of recommendation a year for medical school. So most of the physicians we work with are furiously writing letters of recommendation that just your typical young person going through the medical pipeline isn't going to have an opportunity to get. So we enjoy our role, and we kind of take STEM from an interesting angle, but happy to answer any questions now or when we get to that section of the program. And thank you, Alex and Kate, for having me.
Thank you, Scott, for jumping on and presenting more information about your company. I had a quick question. Why Fuquay?
Oh, because it's where I am. I like it here. We're virtual too, right? So we don't have a central location. Because all of our people work in hospitals and in clinics. My partner's up in Durham. He does a lot of this work from home too. So, yeah.
Awesome presentation. All right, so our next person is Arthur Stewart.
Hello, everyone. Glad you can join us here today. Glad that you all have me today. My name is Arthur Stewart. A little bit about me. Believe it or not, I actually grew up in Fuquay. I don't know if I have any Fuquay Elementary people in here. Any Fuquay Rockets here? Okay.
I'm a dad of a Fuquay. I'm a Fuquay Rocket dad.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm a dad of Fuquay Rockets. My boys came through Fuquay.
Oh, well, no disrespect to the Lincoln Heights people, but I've had enough. I have my peers that went over there as well. It's definitely the better Fuquay school. But shout out to Lincoln Heights though. So anyway, yeah, I graduated from Fuquay High School, and actually, I learned a lot about, in regards to where I am right now and what I've learned from what I didn't have in high school. I was lucky. I had a career counselor in school that saw something in me and introduced me to different things and introduced me to a few scholarships and opportunities and programs I was able to participate in high school. I took a marketing class, which was not really as much of a thing when I was in school, even though, I consider myself to be a young OG, but OG all the same. Yeah, but during that time, There was no like entrepreneurship, STEM code, anything like that. Like it was not a thing. Facebook wasn't even around at this time, which might say, I know, might be aging myself a little bit there. So it was one of those things where by the time it really kind of began to blow up, I was living in a time where, in regards to just kind of following the rules and just, going to college 4 years, go to law school, do whatever, just find like your one track and just do it, not taking any risk. That was what was encouraged. And for some reason at that time, like that never really sat well with me. I've always considered myself to be more of a creative. I wanted to create more things, think bigger. If someone told me that something had to be one way, I would ask them why. Why does it have to be that way? It isn't, you say it does, but I'm seeing over here that it doesn't necessarily have to be. And that kind of was like the start of like not just my career, but really like in college. So one thing that I did that I won't encourage any of you all to do, I don't know if you all are familiar with the Jay-Z line, hope did that, so hopefully you won't have to go through that. Hopefully my story can kind of help serve you all in that regard. So I'm a child of African immigrants, where going to college and if you're not a doctor, a lawyer, or accountant of some type, then you're doing it wrong. And they told me that if I didn't get a college degree, I was going to work at McDonald's. And that changed for me one day when I met this entrepreneur when I was in college. Changed my life forever. So when I look back at it, it almost seems like a pathetic type of experience. But he told me he was an entrepreneur. I think he had dropped out of like high school. Again, not encouraging that at all. You know what I mean? Manifest is not about dropping out of school, for sure. This is a STEM program. But he was essentially just saying, like, just think bigger and being able to think about the problems that you want to solve in the world. Like what would you like the world to look like? And you can be the person to build that thing. And I was like, oh, okay. So from that point on, started reading about a bunch of entrepreneurs, hearing about their stories and how things kind of came about. Long and the short, I did what I called stopping out of school. I didn't drop out. I stopped out. I got a job where I felt like I was making the big bucks, making $30,000 a year. Yeah, that's big time for a 19-year-old. I went from taking dates to O'Charlie's to taking them to the Red Lobster. So, but still, not necessarily the pathway. But that whole journey, oh, you gotta love the cheddar biscuit for sure, 100%. I mean, Beyonce talked about it, But anyway, long and the short, I realized one day that if I had just stopped, and I never went back to school, I stayed in the job that I was staying in, that in 5 years, I was going to find myself in a really tough spot. So that was the thing that really got me to go back to school. Well, not just go back to school, but be more intentional about why I'm going back to school. So I was studying public relations and entrepreneurship, because the way I looked at it was, if you understand how business works, and you understand how to tell a story, how to market it, how to promote it, I mean, that's like 2/3 of the whole process of running a business right there. And I was really blessed to, and I use that also as a platform because I always saw myself as wanting to be an entrepreneur, wanting to be in business. And I just met as many entrepreneurs as possible, asked them all the questions I could, but more importantly, I listened to a lot of the insights that they had to offer. And those experiences are really valuable. So yeah, that experience, I've been blessed with a lot of opportunities. I've worked with a lot of startups in the tech space. And one thing that I will say, like, you guys are coming up in probably one of the most unique times in history. Like, there is so much information that you can freely access from just pulling out this thing right here. Like, you got just the content that's on TikTok and the different stuff on YouTube. Just following different cool people that are doing cool things on Instagram. Like you're in a really special time to really be exactly what you want. But one thing that I would definitely say to you all is, and this is a lesson that I had to learn for myself, is to find your own path. Your parents are going to try to tell you what path to go on. Your teacher's going to try to tell you the path to go on. There's other people going to try to tell you the path to go on. And they all mean very well for you. But you have to find out, like, what is it that you were born to do? What is it that you're passionate about? What are the challenges that you want to be a part of? And go do that thing. And if you're not there, and if you don't know exactly what that is perfectly okay. I went through times, a lot of times, even as an adult still, probably as an older adult, probably forever from what I understand. I've talked to some 65-year-old people that they don't know what they want to be when they grow up. I think that's kind of one of the biggest lies that society is trying to tell us at certain points in our lives is, when you're 18 years old, you need to know what you're going to do for the rest of your life. Life is a forever evolving process, but one thing that I will say is just a couple pieces of advice. Number one, really practicing writing skills and communication skills overall, because being able to communicate effectively with people with words is going to put you in a unique space. And believe it or not, I work with these people. There's a lot of people who struggle with that. So if you could show a person that you can say 3 complete sentences in a row and be able to say, communicate an idea simply, you're going to go really, really far in life. Number 2, I would say learning some type of hard skill. Whether it be coding or design or just even understanding like how UX and UI work together. Because essentially what UX, user experience, UI, user interface, this is exactly like how people interact with different apps and websites. And if you're able to understand people, you'll go very far in life. And I'll add another piece to that is empathy. Being able to really understand people and being able to ask questions. One of the best pieces, like one of my mantras and what I live by is, if you want to know more things in life and you want to be very educated and informed, it's only going to be as good as the questions that you ask. So just take time and really figure out what do you want to know and ask it. And not just the people, there's podcasts out there. There's a lot of the stuff that I've learned over time has been in podcasts, coffee meetings, outings is what I'll say. Outings. These are 3 areas that I feel like I've learned the most in regards to just how to these lessons, more or less. So with that being said, find something hard, because understanding that the world that we're going into is becoming more digital, not less digital. Know how to communicate with people and understand, have compassion and be able to feel and understand where people are coming from, and you'll go far. I would love to be able to remain in touch with any of you guys. If you have any questions, want any feedback, you want to ask me some of those questions that you have, whatever, please follow me on Instagram, NC. Get in touch with me that way. But yeah, I want to open the floor for any questions. And yeah, thank you very much.
Awesome presentation. So now we are in the Q&A session. So if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat or unmute, which either one is possible. Yeah. So I'll give you a second to get those out.
Come on, you all, don't be afraid. Mike won't bite you. Scott won't bite you. And Arthur won't bite you. Now, I mean, hey, this is virtual, so hey. Some of you folks, they got questions, ask them, please. Go ahead. I'm sure that they're prepared to answer whatever question you have for them.
Any question?
I was going to say, and if they're going to be shy, I can ask questions because I'm here for that all day.
We can do that all day, right, Kate?
Right? I wanted actually to give Mike another chance. I know he had to jump off video, but I think he's joined us by phone. And I just wanted to hear a little bit about kind of what got him started. I know he shared that awesome video and really kind of helped connect, you know, that there are other STEM opportunities. But like, Mike, what got you interested in video in the first place? I mean, you were in the service, right, at one point, and kind of how did that transition happen?
So, dating myself, I mean, I go all the way back when we got our first VHS camera, and I thought, wow, this is so cool, and I would video stuff, and then I love stories. I love stories, and I love music. And so video quickly became a way that I saw a form of, oh, I could do stuff at this. And I actually went to go in the Air Force hoping to do video production, but the recruiter told me the Air Force didn't have anything like that. But my electronics scores were really good, so I should go that route, and I did. And lo and behold, I got sent to the tech school that was the very home of the video production training for the Air Force. So I found out real quick how the recruiter got me where he wanted me. So I honestly wanted, though, to do videos I wanted to do music videos. I thought that would be the thing that I would do. And in 25, 26 years, I think I've done 3 of them. But I really love storytelling, and I love gadgets. I love technology. I think that's why I've enjoyed production and seeing where it's gone. Create sets, like we're working on a project right now where we had to create a bubbling cauldron, witch's cauldron. And so anytime you just get to play with technology and, you know, gadgets and stuff like that to part of your set design and then the equipment, and then use that to do something you're passionate about and that you love doing. You know, my dad told me early on, don't confuse a well-paying job for a good job. He said, you can make a lot of money, but if you're miserable, there's no amount of money that's going to make up for it. And so I'm grateful that that time has proven true, that I get to do what I love and pursue what I love and try to use what I do now to maybe make a difference in some capacity.
Hey, this is Ahmed. I have a quick question for you, Mike. You said, I mean, you've only done 3 music videos. Would you still be willing to do music videos?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Good to know. Thank you, sir.
That's the stuff right there that just makes my heart swell. Like, that's
networking.
Awesome. Yep, make that connection. Mike does incredible work. As a matter of fact, you just did a video for RDU, right?
That is correct. We just released it on Monday. A campaign, you probably may see it on TV, encouraging people to get back to flying again.
I'll definitely be in touch, Mike. Thank you.
Yeah, I was just about to say that to Mike. Sounds like you're about to make quite a few videos this year.
Sounds good to me.
I also have a question for Mike. I wanted to ask, what would be the best way to get more experience with making videos and creating media to put out? And do you know where good places to get that experience would be?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think it was referenced just a little bit ago. You guys are very fortunate that you have so much at your fingertips to learn and to experience and to trial and error. I mean, my goodness, your iPhones these days are better video cameras than what I started with and spent a whole lot more money for when it comes to equipment. So start playing, start exploring, whether your passion is in the story writing or storytelling part of it, editing, coloring, whatever it is, building stuff. Just start dabbling with it. I think that for me is always the important thing when I'm looking to hire somebody or we're bringing someone on as an intern, is do they have the passion for it? Because it's one of those things where you can tell when somebody loves what they do and they're just really constantly honing their skills on it. And then you've got tutorials, you've got all kinds of content out there that you can get in there and dive into. And I'll be honest with you, no matter how many years you've been in it, I've got a team of people who have been in this business for a while, and we still go to that as a resource sometimes for learning new tricks and learning new things. So I'd say start there. There's a lot of different schools out there that offer great programs, and I would even say even if your interest isn't necessarily even in the art side of it, as far as the storytelling. From a technology standpoint, oh my goodness, there's so many things from the gimbal systems to drones to, if you enjoy working on the electronic side of things, I would even encourage, looking into that because that's only growing. There's only more and more demand for that coming.
Do you see, Mike, that drones or like robotics are kind of the way of the future, if you will, for video? Are we still seeing, handheld cameras, or is it really going into that kind of autonomous mode?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, there is definitely a big move. Like I said, I just purchased a robotic sliding and motorized head system so that we can create shots, special effects shots that require the camera to move the same way, exactly the same way each time, so that in post you can make it look like something was there or wasn't there and do a lot of visual effects. And that's just going to grow. I mean, there's so many things where that's going to continue to expand. Drones are that was a huge turning point in our industry. We did some work earlier for RDU, and we were the first company to ever fly a drone out of the airport. Because otherwise, what it took was you had to get in a helicopter, you had to get in an airplane, you had to get something like that, which was expensive. But now I can within 10 minutes, I can be up flying and capture footage as good as some of the things you used to have to do from a large aircraft.
I'm definitely going to call you, Mike.
I think Mario had a question. He had two questions. One would be, would it be beneficial to go to school to get training in these tech spaces, or would certifications work as well or better? And then number two is, what are some STEM career areas that involve music? Oh my goodness, that's right up your alley, Alex. So that question is for anyone that could answer it.
I can jump in real quick. The answer is yes. And what I mean by that specifically is you can go to school and get those traits, because what it's going to do is it's going to create the structure. If you're someone that it's kind of hard for you to kind of like go on a self-guided path to learning things, or like your attention span's like not there, or whatever the case, school is great for that. But I know coders, people that are doing very well for themselves that are self-taught, so it just really depends on what works best for you. You don't have to do any schooling, but also it could be beneficial. And also another benefit to going to college, I would say, or school, is the networking element to it. A lot of the programs that I've been a part of, in fact, I just finished a coding boot camp last month, and my network's expanded a ton from that. And to be honest, I don't know if I'll be able to code the way that I'm able to code now if it wasn't for the program. I could have learned some things, but there's something about having an instructor there where you can ask them very specific questions around certain concepts that you're working around. But in regards to the music piece, that's not as much my expertise. I don't know, maybe somebody else can get that one.
Do you mind if I add to what Arthur said? Is that okay? And I do agree with what he stated, but I will say one thing just to be aware of. I've been working in the pharmaceutical industry for over 10 years now, and even with certifications, most corporate companies want to see a degree. So just be aware of that fact as well. That in any big corporation, even when you're talking about tech, I've worked with a lot of young coders, young people that want to get into gaming, and they're really good at it. They could probably, align with most of the people that work at those big gaming companies, but when they go and apply, they're unable to get a position, and that's usually because they don't have that degree under their belt. So while the experience and the skills are definitely important, I think still having some sort of degree will put you on the top of the list when you're applying, especially to corporate America.
If I may add real quick, I was going to echo that because, for myself, it was a lot of OJT and self-taught. I didn't go to school for it. It was something I just, kept doing and working with different people. Going back to an earlier question, find internships. That's a huge deal, just to get experience. But I will say it definitely gives you an advantage if you have an opportunity to train, to learn, understand principles. But then there's a lot of benefit to, collaborative student film projects where you have to work together, and that's where some of the best magic happens, is when there's collaboration and you learn. So, for our industry, it's not necessarily an end-all be-all, but it does definitely help give you an advantage to walk in with a good foundation, a good understanding of all the various aspects of it.
And there's one more thing I want to add. This is like a very general thing that it took me finishing school to really understand, and just talk to anyone who's finished college and struggled to find a job afterwards. They'll confirm what I'm about to tell you. The idea of a degree alone getting you where you want to get to is a false idea. I think the people that succeed are the people who are clear or at least put themselves out there to succeed, and they have a degree. That's the way to go. But one of the things that I, a lot of people were disappointed to find out was that just having a bachelor's degree was a golden ticket to a six-figure job. It's just not the way that it works. I wish it was that way. But it's really a matter of networking, building your skills, putting yourself in as many positions as possible to build on your skill set. That's what's going to get you where you need to get to.
I think that was all excellent points, gentlemen. Thank you.
Really quick, I noticed there was a question a lot earlier from Patty. It's a very interesting question, actually. For anyone who doesn't know what they want to do, what's the best way to get exposure to a variety of options? So if you don't mind, I'll give you my personal experience. Growing up, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I worked every possible job from high school, even through college until I graduated. I worked at restaurants, I worked at Best Buys, I worked at UPS, I worked everywhere. I did sales, I did marketing, I did everything. I had no idea what I wanted to do. Even when I got to college, I didn't know what I wanted to do. Thought I knew what I wanted to do, switched degrees about 4 times. And the only reason I'm saying this is because you have to try everything to figure out what you want to do. Don't be afraid to go outside of that element. And this kind of goes back to Arthur's point, right? Is like, you go to school, you try to get a degree, you might not like it, you switch, maybe you take a break, maybe you do something else. And I feel like, again, just echoing what he said during his presentation, sometimes we feel like our parents tell us, okay, you're going to be an engineer, you're going to be a doctor, and that's what, and maybe that's not what you really want to do. And that's kind of the situation that I was in growing up. My father wanted me to be in medical, and I started medical, and I did not like biology. So there was no way that I was going to do medical. I just don't, there's nothing about the human body that interests me at all. So there was no way I was going to go into medical school, right? But I tried everything. And even till now, I'm a chemist. I got a chemistry degree. I don't do chemistry. I worked my way out of chemistry. I just got my chemistry degree because somebody told me that would be the strongest degree if you want to go into that type of field. You can work in anywhere, any company, every type of company probably has a lab, and you'll be able to get a job. But even then, I'm a chemist and a scientist and an engineer now, but I actually like to do music. So it's like, you never know what you want to do, but I think it's important to continue to just do different things. Be as diverse and as well-rounded as you could possibly be. And eventually you will find the thing that you love to do. And it's okay if it takes you forever to figure that out. Or if you never figure it out, at least you're doing, some people just love, like one sister of mine, she just loves getting new degrees all the time. That's what she likes. So, even that could be, some people look at it like, okay, well, maybe I don't necessarily know what I want to do, but actually you do. You like learning, right? You like gaining knowledge, and that's there's a lot of people like that. So, point is just, I don't think there is a rule of thumb about how to figure out what you want to do. I just think you have to go out there and experience it and be adventurous with your, with your career, and sometimes take those risks. And it's okay to take those risks.
But that was definitely a good segue as far as the music. So DJ Complex, drop some music for us as we go into our intermission. At this point, music always is a good thing here. Very good conversation, very good questions. And let's keep it going, guys. We'll take a 10-minute and we'll come back at 6:10.
Can we talk during the intermission?
Of course you can.
Okay. Hey, Mike, Mike, do you mind putting your contact information or website or something like that in the chat?
I can make that happen for you, Mike, if you want me to while you're...
Oh, sorry, he's on the phone.
On the fly.
Thank you, Kate.
You got it.
And to transition, we're actually headed to Gastonia to my son's house for Father's Day. I love Mike's Facebook posts. They're like, we need 30 pairs of coveralls tomorrow, or I need like hubcaps, or it's always a random thing for a video project. It's very entertaining, Mike.
Yeah, I get a lot of wild, like, what in the world are you working on now? Well, we had a test shoot this week, and we had a man dressed in a dog costume out in our parking lot doing some filming, and I could only imagine what our neighbors were thinking. And then out back we have, for another project, we have a couple barrels that have toxic waste on them that we added as props. So I get a lot of interesting looks of why did they have toxic barrels back there?
That's amazing, Mike. That's amazing.
And Scott, if you could put your information in the chat too, that would be great.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I really appreciate you all taking your time to do this. It's awesome that you're giving back to this community because, you know, one of the things that we
be okay. So I prayed and I paid. It's Rihanna, but constellation is space. Voice, hey, the fucking chase.
Bath salt. Why you speakers in the face? 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 Get it out living. I live it how I get it. Count the money, digits. I pull up with a limit. Not she ain't living. This shit how I get a sick. And this ain't a spirit. We ain't finished. I told you we won't stop. Body business. Like guns with your spinning. Way low to the top. Play one night. Tell the paparazzi get the name right. Have to put the damn top online. Gotta have it on the go side.
Lean up, tell me, baby. Tell me if you with it, cause I'm in it, baby. I haven't heard from you and I'm in it, baby. Just tell me what to do and I get it, baby. Gucci and Prada. Take a trip in the middle of the night. I don't let you see as I put it down right when I'm ready. I can put you on a flight. You know that it right, make you change your life for me. Everything you do is amazing. Ain't nobody else, you're crazy. I got what you need, you ready for it. You tell me how you're great.
I wanna rock, 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 I wanna rock. When it's finna let the rock bass drop. If you feel better, you can hit me there. If you feel better, you can hit me there. If you feel better, you can hit me there. If you feel better, you can hit me there. I don't want friends, I just want M's. I don't follow trends, I just follow Tens. Every other week, I'ma make an M. I told her if you make it hard, turn it to a 10. I'm the type to jump the top, while she give me tops to the white boy in the club who can't really rock. Still the same, and I made a million for pop guns to the land that I eat. I'm a juggernaut. I don't fuck with Zans, I grew up on pop. I get love and heat in the way I rap a lot. I don't need bacon, I don't fuck with cops. If I kill the best alive, then it's suicide. May 24th, I'm a Gemini. Not a one-hit wonder, this is why I'm hot. No limit, all I got is me, myself, and now. When I said it's her and I, that was a lie. I wanna rock, I wanna rock. I wanna rock, I wanna rock. I wanna rock, I wanna rock. When it's finna let the rock bass drop. If you feel better, you can hit me there. If you feel better, you can hit me there. If you feel better, you can hit me there. If you feel better, you can hit me there.
Godfather with a gun full of sneaks. Car Porsche trying to give away a ring. Bricks full, trying to turn them in the base. Big boy, I'm in trying by the praise. Courtroom selling like I'm in the opera. When they got it, now these wanna knock us. Follow cause they need a couple dollars. But it ain't no problem cause a nigga really got it. Fat boy, rich, with an appetite. Count money all night under the candlelight. Spending vinyl, Teddy P is in Lionel. Not a model, but I know I be idle. Big bang sparking without a lighter. On fire cause I'm just a different writer. Practicing social distance with all these fish. Guess he jealous cause I had his favorite with his big bucks. Stepping out of big trucks. Stepping on my feet to get you up. Got the squad with me and all they did was give me love. Foot locker 20 deep and spin a dub. G-Wagon for my girl, go give it up. Jeff bro, this for these I'ma hit him up. Back of belly, it's all eyes on me. Pinky rings is still limo.
They always want something from me. It's way different every time it's me and you. You love me when I was lonely, now I got money, baby, let me freeze you. I said, get your pretty ass right here, cause I miss you. Get up in your bag, after back, what you swim to? Oh, you got it back when you're stuck in the house, and you keep on thinking how these other niggas did you. You don't even wanna call my line, turn, cause you said I wanna call day. Seen around all that I'm a Louis winner. Virtual, let's just spin slump all names. Singing, but I will get you rolled on. Don't think my niggas fell away, ain't hurt no one in so long. They wanna off me, but I got so much money. If I react, they say I'm so wrong. Play with me, I wanna see how you gon' treat me like I'm see. $100,000 cars when I be 24 hours, baby, 12 times. 7 days a week, I wanna see how you gon' treat me like I'm see. $100,000 cars when I be 24 hours, baby, 12 times. I've been telling you, there's out of your thing, stuck in every my mind was changed. I'm glad you made intoxicated, intoxicated. Put love in the air, baby, you know. Rush me with that and with the time goes. I'm going to show you now. What's that next? You made me and I know that you feel me the way I feel you. And it's cool that you got a motive, and I think like it. I know all your insecurities. I hope that you're open. My body can notice that I want your energy. Girl, give me that. Girl, good love, no question. We got
All right. Awesome way to start or end our intermission. Before I pass it to Andres, I wanted to say that this event that we're doing, we're highlighting the fabric of Freeway Arena. And so, if anyone's watching, listening, viewing, as you can see, the people or the companies that are represented are right here in our backyard. They're right here at Freeway Arena. So we are highlighting the fabric of Freeway Arena. This is just day one of doing that. And I thank you, Scott, for representing me at Scribes. Thank you, Mike, for representing Amazing Studios. And I thank you, Arthur, for representing the Fuquay Rockets. I'm just joking, but I thank you all for really taking your time out to be highlighted because you are to be celebrated because you are right here in Fuquay Arena. I know there are a lot of talented individuals that live here, people that they go off and they go to college, and some of them come back. And so they're looking for opportunities, employment opportunities right here. And I'm glad that you all are part of this so they can know who you are and what it is that you do and what you bring to the table here in our very own community of Fuquay Arena. So Andres, let me pass it back to you, brother.
It's all good. All right, we're going to go ahead and move forward. So our next speaker will be Wake Tech Applied Engineering.
I always have to unmute. I forget that sometimes. But anyway, well, welcome. Yeah, I am Laura Eddington. I'm the Dean of Applied Engineering and Technologies at Wake Tech. And so interesting, I'm listening to this first hour and thinking back over my lengthy career. And just to give you a perspective, is I started my academic career in 78. I graduated in 78, so I'm going to date myself. And when I was in the 10th grade, my father, I announced I wanted to be an engineer. I was going to go to Virginia Tech, and that, I was going to be, a mechanical engineer, in fact. And my father was just totally opposed to it and totally against me being an engineer. And so he wasn't going to pay for my college, and I knew that. So I knew then that I was going to have to strike it out on my own and just kind of go against the grain of my parents on what my schooling should be. And I tell you, I encourage everybody, find a mentor, find somebody who will guide you through the process of becoming who you want to be, and hang on their coattails. At the 10th grade, my math instructor and his wife took me to UVA, to an engineering event. And I walked in there and I thought, I'm at home, man, this is really what I want to do. And it's what I strive to do. And you think about it, there were only about 5% of women who were mechanical engineers in the 1970s. Today, we have moved the needle to 13, 14%. Not a lot in 50 years. Okay, but, but again, when you find your passion, when you find what you want to do, find somebody to support you and get you through it. And it might not be just one person. It might be, I had an uncle. My uncle was so proud of me becoming an engineer. He would write me letters, send me articles. And that was another inspiration of somebody who was bolstering, yes, this is okay. I can do this. And so, it's a struggle. And, had I had a wake tech down the road, I might have gone that way first and then gone to the four-year institution. But at any rate, it took me 6 years to get my degree, but it was well worth it. It's been a rewarding degree. I did come out of industry about 18 years ago and started teaching. So, again, another rewarding degree, you got to go with your mentors. My high school instructor probably had a lot to do with me becoming an educator as well. So, so find that passion. At Wake Tech, we have we're the diamond in the rough. We've always been told we're the diamond in the rough, but we have many programs in the applied engineering. And so, you talk about STEM, you talk about hands-on learning, and if I can share, I don't know if I can share my screen. I'm going to try. That's okay. I heard in that wonderful Lenovo video about how students didn't like math and how they really wanted to use their hands and their artistic ability. And we have 14 different degrees in my division, and they range from architectural, where you're going to be working on doing artistic houses, you're going to be doing computers, you're going to be using the latest technology that is used in the field to interior design, where you're actually going to be putting together. I've seen some wonderful houses that they put together and interior designs. So if you like the artistic side of it, we've got that in our division. If you like to work with electronics and mechanical things, then we have programs in electronics, mechanical. We have construction management, we have civil engineering, and we have geomatics. And in geomatics, you guys talked about drones. This coming year, we're going to be adding drone technology to that program, because if you've seen some of the flyovers of the buildings, that is the wave of the future. So Wake Tech is very much on the cutting edge. We are going to be building a Industry 4.0 building. We're going to do a mini one on the South Campus, but we're going to do a big one, which is going to be an integration of networking and engineering and bringing together the communication and the programming logic of a building together. So we're excited about that. We also have trades. That is in my division. And so I always encourage my students that I teach, I said, you need to look at the world. Look at the world and look at the world differently than you did yesterday. Look at the fact that when you look at a building is made up of air conditioning, which we teach. It is made up of plumbing. It is made up of electrical systems, the wiring, and all of that in a building. And also, if you like welding, we have welding too. My son is in the welding program and enjoying it. And again, very hands-on, very much integrated into, you really can become either your own entrepreneur in that, or you can apprentice in it, you can work for somebody. We've got a wealth of that. Then we also have biotech degrees. We have the biopharmaceutical degree, which is actually an industrial pharmaceutical. It's actually making the drugs. So you think about Glaxo and Novo Nordisk and Novartis and all those who are actually making drugs for people, something very important. It's interesting in that field. I heard this many times. We have a number of students in that field that actually graduated in a BS or a BA degree, and realize they don't have any skills to go out and find their career. So they've come back to be retooled at Wake Tech and have found a very rewarding career. And then we have a new degree this year, starting in the fall, biotechnology, which is going to be more in the laboratory of the biotech field. And so when students come to me and they start talking about things, I don't ever like to talk about Wake Tech can get you a job. Wake Tech doesn't get you jobs. Jobs are the things that get you the pay that you need to live on. Okay? What I'm talking about is a career to actually build on your talents and what you can do and what you can inspire out of your own two hands, out of your own mind. We have programs that we're not talking about calculus. We're not talking about engineering programs like NC State, although wonderful programs to go into. We're talking about programs that will get you some rewarding careers. Superdroids is one of my most favorite companies in Fuquay. We have many of our mechanical engineering students that actually work at Superdroids. So, what we do at Wake Tech is connect you with your career that you want to go with. So you start out in mechanical engineering, you say, well, this is quite right for me. Well, you can easily switch to another program at Wake Tech and be able to explore that avenue. So, we ask students to, look at the world differently. What is it in this world that you want to do? And don't ever be afraid of doing it. Find somebody that will support you and bolster you. Because if anybody's been through education and been through schooling, you have those moments where you doubt, okay? That's where your mentors will come in place, and that's where they will fortify you on the decision that you're making and work you through it. If you are not happy with what you're doing, they are also the ones that will help you find your passion and find what you want to do. So I am all about people, fulfilling their life's goal, okay? You call it what you will, calling if you want, but, music, whatever, find that passion. My stepdaughter actually is a wonderful artist. And she had to make a decision whether she wanted her artistic talents to be a career or whether she wanted it to be a hobby, and then chose another career. So she chose another career because what she wanted to do was make sure that she could always have that outlet to have as when she gets home to do her artistic work. So anyway, that's my advice to people. Find people to help you through life because that's what you need. You can't go it alone. Okay, it's not possible. And particularly with young people today, there's so much information coming at you that you have to find the filter. And you have to have people help you find that filter. So that's what I have to tell you.
Awesome presentation. All right, so our next speaker will be Wake Tech Gaming Department.
Thanks, Dre. I'm Cindy Foster. I'm the program director for simulation and game development, and I love being last. I thought, gee, I really want to go first, and then I won't be as nervous, right? Because whatever anybody says doesn't put me in a position. It's been great to listen to everybody because my story is a little different. I went to college to be to major in English and journalism, and my goal was to teach high school English, newspaper, and yearbook. I don't even know if they do yearbook and newspaper anymore, but that was my thing. And I went to college, and I was 200 miles from home, and I was not the first generation, but my parents hadn't gone to college, but my grandparents, one set of grandparents had, so they knew about college. My parents really didn't know a lot about it, and 200 miles from home, went to class after the first, we did 10-week quarters rather than 2 semesters. After the second quarter, I was pretty sure I was going to go home because we were studying this one piece of poetry for about 3 weeks. And after about the first 20 minutes, I was done examining it as much as I was ever going to examine it. And professor said, "Oh, next week we're going to talk about stanza 2." And I thought, "Oh dear Lord, what am I going to do? This isn't what I want to do." And it ended up, I stumbled into an engineering friend who was doing computer programming. I went to visit him one afternoon, and he's at his desk and he's working. I won't tell you that it wasn't data entry on a computer. It was on sheets of paper at that point. But so what are you doing? And he goes, "Oh, I have this class I'm taking for my engineering course. It's computer programming." I went, "Let me see that." Told me about what the goal of his project was, and it was like, oh my goodness, every light that could possibly have gone on for me. This was it. This was problem solving. And I think the next week I went and saw my guidance counselor, my advisor, and I said, I can't do English anymore. But I really think I like this computer programming thing. And like Laura, it was the 70s, and there weren't any females, and I was in a very, very large Midwestern university, and I was the only female in the computer science program. And I got a lot of, "Oh, she's only a girl, it's okay, she may go to work after she graduates, but she'll get married and have a baby, and after that happens, she will never work again, blah, 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 blah." Well, I commented in the chat that you may end up with a career that didn't exist when you went to college, and that was me. There weren't any video games when I went to college, certainly none at home. We played Pac-Man at bars on Friday night and with a whole handful of quarters, but a whole bunch of different things in life happened, and I ended up at Wake Tech. And about 16 years ago, we started the simulation and game development program, and it's grown to be quite large. We have about 375 students. But what I want to tell you about is, that video that Mike showed with the girl who said, "Oh, I just like to play video games." That can be a career. And somebody says, "Oh, I just like to draw." That can be a subset of that career. "Oh, I think I want to be a computer programmer, but gee, I don't want to figure out, how much it costs to do X, Y, Z. I'd really like to be more creative." Simulation and game development is an option. And with a 2-year degree, you can get a job at Epic Games. We've probably, over the course last 10 or 12 years, we've had literally hundreds of students employed by them, and we probably have maybe 40 students that are still there full time. They did the Fortnite dance in the hallway before the game was released. Our students work there and go to school. It's interesting because somebody says, "Well, I can't remember who it was, maybe." I can't remember, doesn't matter. But it's interesting because you have an opportunity to work, and you can get work on your degree as well. And so I talk to a lot of students and a lot of parents, particularly, because they're going, they can't go to school, they can't earn a degree in computer, and they need computer programming. They don't need simulation and game development. Well, simulation and game development is more than creating the next Fortnite, too. There's the serious side of it. Think about pilots. How do they get their training? In simulators. How do doctors learn today how to do a medical procedure? They don't work on cadavers like they used to. It's all simulations. And so the skills you learn in the simulation game development program teaches you that as well. And so we have a lot of students that go on and have worked at Research Triangle Institute out in the park, and they do a lot of defense work. We've had students go to work for Duke University to create simulations for their nursing students. Then we've had those that have worked on Tom Clancy games at Red Storm. We've had them work on the games that Epic Games has built. We've had students go work for Puny Human and Manji, and Insomniac Games here in town. We've had students go to the West Coast. We've had a few that actually went to work for Nintendo. I had one student that went to Spain and taught game development specifically for the Unreal Engine. That is the product that Epic's games are built on. So only a 2-year degree. In fact, we had one graduate that went to work for Epic Games who straight out of the chute was making more money than me, which doesn't say a whole lot for Wake Tech salaries, but the accomplishment that this young man has had. He used to be the janitorial manager at an apartment complex, and now he's doing what he loves at Epic Games as a programmer. So lots of opportunity, like Laura said. Somebody said, well, how do you figure out what you want to do? And I don't know if there's any young listeners, but we have something called the Career and College Promise program at Wake Tech. If you're a high school student, you can come in and explore Laura's engineering area. In fact, my grandson will be with you in the fall, Laura. You can come and try simulation and game development. There's a program that I think you can even do some of the welding, and I'm not sure, Laura can probably speak to that better, but there's lots of opportunities. You don't have to go all in and go to a 4-year institution and find out a semester in you hate it and now you owe a bunch of money. Come try it at Wake Tech, and if you don't like it, you're probably out less than $1,000. So there's lots of details I could tell you about. We have got a great grant that we were awarded about 18 months ago, and we're doing photogrammetry. We're looking at drones too, but for a different purpose. We are doing motion capture, put on that suit with the little balls and dance around the room, and we'll turn you into a character in a video game. We're doing animation. And we're offering lots of internships. So our grant is paying for some internships. We're going to do some great projects on campus. We've talked about doing an engineering project. We're going to work with culinary, which is going to be great. And we're actually doing some cybersecurity stuff too. And what we're going to do is build simulations to teach our students. So there's lots of stuff you can do with our degree as well. And those of you that are muted and faceless, but I see your names, I challenge you to ask a question. This is a small group. Ask away. Laura and I would be delighted to talk more about Wake Tech. Doesn't have to be our area, but there's lots of fields there. I can't even remember. Laura, do you remember how many different degrees we offer these days?
Well, over 200 different degrees and certificates that we offer at Wake Tech. I mean, my area just has 14, but Cindy, you have 2 within your own area. One artistic and one that is programming.
Programming, and
so depending on what you like to do, then you would choose that. But apprenticeship programs are also big at Wake Tech, and I always tell students, hey, this is an opportunity to actually be debt free when you actually leave the college. And you hear a lot of people who get that 4-year degree in lots of debt, and they can't find their vocation.
Yeah. And under our division, Laura's in the division that's in the new building next to our old building. In our division, we have cybersecurity, we have networking, we have web development, we have graphic design, we have office administration, medical office administration, tons. I can't even begin to tell you how many degrees. That would be far more than Laura's 14, I think. Mm-hmm. As an example, I had my son-in-law and daughter got married, and he had high school degree. He was working for a cleaning business. He worked at Office Max. He had done a lot of things. His child was born. He decided I need a degree. I need to show my child that education is important and I can be something better than I am. And as a married father with lots of responsibilities, it took him 7 years to get his 2-year degree. He went very slowly, but he is now working for Hillrom, the manufacturer of medical beds for patients and a nursing software, the software system that nurses use. And he's making well over 6 figures, and he has a 2-year degree from Wake Tech. My nephew, who was in the military, and when he got out, he didn't want to go back to the Midwest. We told him he could come and stay with us if he wanted to go to Wake Tech. He could live for free, go to school, pay your way, whatever. He's working for Cisco, and with that 2-year degree, he's making a very lovely salary. So lots of opportunities. Just letting your imagination run wild.
Yeah, lots of. If you're interested in business, we have accounting degrees, we have logistics degrees, we have business management degrees, we have educational degrees in childhood education. We have, if you're interested in college transfer, that is one of our biggest areas. You could go into the college transfer, but understand when you go into college transfer, that's what you're going to do, is to transfer to college. So, it depends on where you are, where your station is in life. The 2-year degrees actually will get you a good career. And then we are partnering with ECU this fall. We are going to begin offering classes on site for the BSIT, which is the BS Industrial Technology degree. So you wouldn't have to go far. You just kind of go to the next building and you could start pursuing a 4-year degree. There's a lot of colleges that offer the online degrees as well. ECU is one big component of that. So there's lots of opportunities beyond the 2-year degree that if you want to seek the 4-year degree, you definitely can.
And we also have nursing.
Nursing.
And that feeds directly into a bachelor in nursing at ECU, and you can do that all online. My son-in-law's sister has got her her nursing degree from Wake Tech, went to work for Wake Med. Wake Med paid for her to get her bachelor's at ECU, and she never left Wake County. She did it all. She did it all online.
If you like working with automotives, then we have a huge Henrik Automotive Excellence for Automotives that just opened up, it just opened up, but we'll start classes in this fall. And that is all about repair of automotives. Its collision is up there, as well as on the southern campus, heavy equipment. If you like working with bigger diesel engines, the ag type of engines, then that's down there at the southern campus.
Laura, doesn't the heavy equipment, haven't they interned at John Deere in Fuquay?
Yes. Yep, that's very good. John Deere is a big component of the ag program at Wake Tech, and they sponsor a lot of students. So.
I have a question, if you don't mind. And my wife is actually looking to change careers, right? So she was a teacher, and after having 3 kids, she no longer wants to be around kids. So,
that's hard. That's a challenge for you, Ahmed.
So, and she mentioned she doesn't really know what she wants to do. So given that situation, and if anybody else has similar situations, it goes back again to not knowing what you want to do going forward in your life. If she were to come to Wake Tech, what would be the best way for her to really get insight on all the different ways or all the different things that she can do?
Wow. Would you send him to the Career Center in the ILC, Laura?
I would, but at this point, I would almost say, come and talk to some of the instructors or the program directors in the areas. And then, like for instance, in our area, we can tour you around and get you in, seeing what the labs are and seeing what you feel comfortable doing. And then that I would think would be a better approach than the career, because right now, Cindy, the ILC is kind of tore up a little bit.
That is true, yes.
Yeah. So I would start there and start with actually talking with somebody within a division and just start that exploration of what you want to do. What does she like? That's always my first question. What do you like to do? Yeah. And if you don't know, then let's start with you don't know.
Yeah, I mean, weekly I meet with students that have been in other fields and say, this is I think this is going to be my passion. And through talking, we can work out. A lot of times I send people to the engineering area. No, you really don't want to do simulation game development. Or, the question is, if I do the programming degree in under simulation and game development, could I go and work for like some regular business type company? And the answer to that one is no. Most businesses don't program projectiles in 3D space. They want an analytical analysis of something or other. So it's different. Web design to simulation and game development, or move to graphic design. It's kind of a fluid thing, because I've talked to a lot of people, and it ends up they leave my office and I've given them 3 or 4 other people to talk to before they commit.
So we ask them questions. Do you like work with your hands? It's always one of my second questions is, what do you want to do? Do you like to work with your hands? If you like to work with your hands, then are you artistic in any way? Do you like to draw? Do you like to work on computers? Because we have programs like architecture, which makes people manually draw, still the old school type of thing, but also then works into the computer world and works on the CAD systems. And maybe it's interior design, maybe you like that type of it. If you like electronics, you like to look at, I'm a real gearhead, so I like to know how things work and how things work together. And I worked on engines when I was younger, when you could work on them. So, but do you like that aspect of it? Maybe you like welding. We have lots of, not lots of women, but we'd love to see women in welding. And it's amazing how talented people are in welding. And, HVAC or electrical systems, you like wiring things up. In mechanical engineering can go many different ways. You can be a CAD jockey or you can be a designer. And all companies are looking for that type of engineer. So, it's more of kind of, let's see, what is it, kind of the exploration of what is it. And again, have your wife look at the world. What in the world does she like to do? And what is it that builds a kind of a passion? And does she like working with numbers? Well, maybe she likes being an accountant. Maybe she'd like to go through the accounting program. Does she like bossing people around? Well, maybe management is where she needs to go. And we have, business management degrees. There's many different aspects of it. If you like cooking, if you like to cook, maybe that's something you want to turn your passion into, is to cook. If you want to do EMS, we have a continuing ed program that's big in EMS. So that's, your ambulance, the people working on the first responders. We have fire, we have police, we have security. We have lots of avenues. It's amazing. Wake Tech is always interesting. We have, 28,000 undergraduates, if you will, in our 2-year programs. And when you think about that, and you think about the fact that we service nearly 80,000 people with our Con Ed, we touch a lot of people in Wake County, in one way or another. In fact, every day you guys go out into the world, you're probably engaging with somebody who went to Wake Tech.
I challenge you to walk from your car to any business through a parking lot and not see the famous blue Wake Tech sticker on at least a half a dozen cars.
I went to Wake Tech for a year.
There you go. What'd you do? What did you?
I can't even remember.
Did you earn any credits while you were
I
there?
think I did. I hope I did.
I went to Wake Tech for a calculus course before enrolling into the pharmacy program. And I tell you, I kid you not, I thought I was literally at a 4-degree university. I was not expecting to be as challenged as I was in that calculus course, but I saw how it prepares the students to be able to transfer to the NC States and do very well because of the teacher's knowledge and preparation of those students.
Well, and you have to look at cost as well. My kids both went straight to NC State, both earned their degrees. But had they not known what they wanted to do, and both of my children did, they could have gone to Wake Tech first, earned that 2-year degree, especially if money is a challenge, because you can go for about $85 a credit hour versus $400 a credit hour. You can get a whole degree from Wake Tech for less than $10,000. 1 year at NC State is probably $15,000. Your financial aid money goes a whole lot further.
That is an excellent point, Cindy, especially if you're undecided. I know looking back, I mean, I'm an NC State grad. I'm very grateful for the experiences. Probably could have had a few less experiences, saved the money, figured out what I wanted to do at Wake Tech, and then moved on. And I will say, too, kind of Arthur made a point earlier about reinventing yourself, and just to say that I went back to Wake Tech after I graduated from NC State because I thought I wanted to do something different. I enrolled in the nursing program. I ended up deciding as soon as I was in a hospital that it wasn't for me. But just to say that Wake Tech is a great place to reinvent yourself as well. So even if you get into a degree program and go, wow, I'm here, I'm at a 4-year university, but I don't know what I want to do, this isn't working out, there are always opportunities to then, pull back and punt and try something different and go to Wake Tech and explore their programming too.
Right, and your teachers can be great mentors. I know Cindy and I've worked together with students. I've been in the technology program, then I went into the college transfer program in engineering, and then went back to the technology program. But I can remember being in that engineering program and walking students over to Cindy saying, Cindy, this student really needs to be in your area. I mean, the depth of talent that was in that person's, and they were not sure they really wanted to go to NC State, but they really wanted to delve into their talent. And I was like, well, then we need to try, put you where people can help you, again, mentor that talent and be fortified of that talent and grow that talent.
And I think also every kid that grew up in Wake County wants to go to NC State or Chapel Hill. And are you going there because you want to go? You want to watch football on Saturday, or are you really set on a degree from there? Because I think that we get, like Kate said, we get a lot of 4-year degree people that come to Wake Tech to do what they want to do after they have their bachelor's degree. I've had people that come to me with $100,000 of debt from different colleges across the country and go, well, now that I've done that, now I'm going to do what I really want to do. And so there's nothing wrong with a 4-year institution. That's what Laura and I did first. That's what my kids did first. But wow, especially if you're first generation college student, and I think, Laura, you can attest to this, it's hard when your mom and dad don't understand what it takes to be a college student. I had a student a few years ago who parents said, well, you're only in class 20 hours a week. That means that you can come home and you can babysit your sibling and you can work 15 or 20 hours a week. And I went, whoa, time out. When are you going to study, and when are you going to do your projects and so on? And being a full-time college student is a full-time job. And so you have the support system. We also have clubs and things that you can get involved with it. So it isn't, you know, you go to campus, you go to South Campus, and then you come home and you never see anybody or meet anybody. Our program, and I'm not sure about Laura's program, those students become friends for life. They work together, they work on projects together, and they become very close. So it's not like some people's idea is you go, you don't meet anybody, you get your education, and then you go get a job. So networking is huge. Talked about networking outside, networking while you're in school is great. We get people, Epic Games or recruiters come to us probably 2 or 3 times a semester and say, hey, I need 10, I need 15, I need 20 students. And there's some times where you can give that reference if they've done some things outside of the classroom that you can talk about. So there's lots of things.
Yeah, there are. And I think if you've ever been to a four-year institution and you've been to Wake Tech, there is far more of a one-on-one relationship with your instructors at Wake Tech than there is at the four-year institution. And so, and also we are engaged in our employment, areas. So, where we're expert at teaching, we're also expert of knowing where to place students. And so we have virtually 100%, if not 99% placement from our programs into industry, and it's good industry. It's good careers that people can launch from Wake Tech.
Well, this has been wonderful discussion. So much golden nuggets have been given by the presenters. I just want to say thank you guys for just all the information you provided to our students and even to those who might consider going back for something else. Actually, I'm kind of interested in the gaming aspect. Mom's always said, can't play games and make a living off that. Put them games down and pick up that book. Well, I think she was wrong because it looked like I might actually go back to the game. Okay. But
I stuck my email address in the chat in case anybody's interested.
That's awesome.
Laura, do you want to do the same?
Yeah, I'll do the same thing. Thank you, Cindy.
I was just typing to ask. Nicely done, ladies.
Sorry, quick question, if you don't mind. In the music field, do you happen to know what kind of courses Wake Tech has as far as music, like maybe music production, or you guys have classes like that?
There are some classes in music. I know I've seen students bringing their keyboards into classes and doing something on those. They're not in my field, Cindy. Do you know a little bit more about it than I do?
We have done a little bit of that in the past. We've gone away from it because the music part of game development is mostly contract labor, and it's a short. I'm not going to teach you music, but I believe the college transfer program has music courses embedded in it. I don't know what they are. I'm not musically inclined. I can hum, but that's about it.
No worries. Thank you.
well, now we're going to go. This is a good intersection. It's going to be a little fun game that everybody can be involved in, regardless if you're a company or a student or just someone who's just learning more information. It is called a STEM 16. So it's going to be a rapid fire of questions, and you will put your answer in the chat box. So to make it very easy, it's just true and false questions about history regarding Black scientists, Black doctors, and also some interesting questions about hip-hop artists related to academics to make it quite interesting. So give me one moment to pull and share my screen.
so everyone can see my screen. As I said, it's going to be rapid fire. You want to have probably less than 30 seconds to put your answer in the chat, and those now. That the DJ can give us some game music. Appreciate it.
Drop top Porsche, rolling on my wrist, diamonds up and down my chain. Cardi B straight selling, can't tell me nothing. Bossed up and I change. Yeah, it's my bitch phone. He got all them girls shook. My big fat, got all them boys cook. I'm from dollar bills and I be popping rubber bands. You know, stand to me while I do my money dance. Like, okay. Oh, yeah, I'm giving up enough to get paid.
Oh, we look good together. There's a reason why they watch all night long. Oh, yeah, I know we'll turn heads forever. Oh, tonight I'm gonna show you love. When I'm walking with you, change you. Blame it on my confidence, or blame it on your measurements. Shut the shit down on sight. That's right. I hit you with this. It don't make no sense. I hit you with this. You know it, you know. It
2021, time to bring the light in. We're gonna bring the light in, you know. DJ Khaled, I see you. Cool and Dre, I see you. Pristine Jewelers in the building. L Boogie, Loretta, Torella, Supplies, let's get it.
And on that sunshine, boy, I think I need that back. Can't do it like that. No one else gonna get it like that. So what are you? Yeah. But you take me back. Who cares when it feels like crack? You know that you always do right.
She want that old thing back. Pretty young thing with that OG crack. Straight savage when I got my 50 on. Do the do say, but it turns a deli on. She got a man and he stuck in the feds. Said he gon' kill me cause she up in my bed. We wear chains in the sight that knocks. Only G7s when the flights depart. Stash pesos and Turks and Caicos. Dapper Dan on the first to break those. Not back to Caicos, though your rollies in the sky, my guys will take those. Lower East Side, I'm up in NY. See me on the floor with Opie courtside. Baddies on deck, you know I'm loving them. Still in the meeting with Khaled. Another one.
And on that sunshine, boy, I think I need that back. Can't do it like that. No one else gonna get it like that. So what are you? Yeah. But you take me back. Who cares when it feels like crack? Well, you know that you always do it right.
Crack man and I'm out of the game. Silk shirts and a couple of chains. I go deeper and deeper. Time to prenup, you know it's cheaper to keep up. Crack work in a two-seater. Put you in the lawn, you can keep your feet up. Take half, you can bring them to dawn. I told you.
Jump on. I've been gone for a minute, now I'm back with the jump on. Goons in the club case, I'm jump on. Back up for the high where the come from. In the graveyard is where you get sprung from. All we wanna do is party and buy everybody at the bar Bacardi. Black Barbie dressed in Bulgari. I'm trying to leave in somebody's Ferrari. Spread love, that's what a real mob do. Keep it gangster, look out for the people. I'm the wicked picture these. You better keep the peace. Or out on the breeze. We the best, still is room for improvement. Our presence is felt like a black panther movement. 7 quarter to 8, back to back, and I'm sitting on chrome. 7 times.
All right, we're pass it over to Pastor Holland.
All right.
Now I'm in the spot where I wanna be. Money spent,
This has
getting
been an
rich, just fun
amazing.
at me. Just the way I like it. Money's turning something.
This has been an amazing opportunity for our youth here in the Fuquay Marina area and anyone that tapped in from afar. We hope you all are taking full advantage of the contact information that's been displayed by Laura and Cindy from Wake Tech, as well as Mike, Scott, Arthur. It's all about connections. And, you know, this is a networking event that we have put on, but without further ado, I wanted to make an announcement. We have Andres Jordan. I wanted to make sure that I highlight him. He is an amazing young man. Alex and I had an opportunity to interview him, and he gave us a brag sheet, and he did not even need to really give us a brag sheet because he's very visible in the community. He is, I ain't gonna say was, I'll say he is because the school year has ended, but he is considered to be the president of the Black Student Union out at the high school. So I'm saying he is because the next one has not been elected. So he'll pass the baton on over to whoever that individual will be next year. He's been on the AB honor roll for quite a while, and he's a leader. He's part of the National Honor Society, the Photography Club. I can go on and on. He serves at his ministry, in the media ministry and the music ministry. And so with that, Alex, we understand that Alex represents brainstemology. My brother Jay Dwayne, he represents Love is a Parable, and our ministry of the New Covenant Christian Center, we have already given him a scholarship in the valued amount of $300. And we know that he's going to use it well. We hope for it to be able to grow for the next individuals that will come behind him. We've also given a $300 scholarship to Jordan Bass. He graduated from Wake Christian. Currently he's not here because he's dealing with football. He received almost just about a full ride scholarship at Furman University. But we've given him a $300 scholarship to use it any way that he sees fit. We understand that traveling back and forth between Greenville, South Carolina, and here, it's going to probably be rough on him. So we've done that. And there's a program that Brainstemology has birthed throughout all of this, which is called Youth Mob, Matching the Youth with the Boss. There are two young ladies that we interviewed, Sierra Baker as well as Atalia Hardy. They are awesome young women. One attends Pembroke University, and the other attends Peace College. I'm sorry, she attends Peace College, and both of them are majoring in criminal justice. And so they're going to do amazing work. We can't really lay out what opportunity they have because it's within law enforcement, so we have to be very discreet on what we say concerning what they're doing. But we just thought that we would make these announcements to let you know that we are very serious about what we are doing. This is not just some fly-by-night or a one-time event that we're doing. We're going to continue forging and moving forward, making sure that our youth, or the youth of Fuquay Marina, have opportunities to network and succeed. So we thank you all. I'm not sure, Alex, if you have another announcement or not.
I'm going to go to Kate.
And I will not hold us up with announcements, but I will say thank you, Pastor Holland, for all of that. Just to echo what you said, this is not a one-off. This is not something that we do here today and then we all walk away from it. I think if there's anything I'd like you to take away from this is that any of us are here if you need anything. I know my field at the moment is nonprofit, but I worked in an engineering company for 12 years and I was a financial advisor for 3. And so you've got a lot of talent and skill, a lot of experience. on this panel today. Thank you to everybody who joined us. Thank you to the students who were here and listened on your Friday afternoon. Yeah, this is a community, and it will continue. And so my only other plug would be for tomorrow, really. So join us as the music and art portion of this festival kicks off. 12 to 2, you can live stream it. This team will be at the Art Center making something else pretty special happen tomorrow. So thank you to everybody for being here. We really appreciate you and your time.
I would be remiss if we didn't give EJ Complex some love for providing music for us all the way, I believe, in Greensboro? All the way out
for now.
Greensboro, supporting what we do here as we continue to grow. Please check him out. Please check out what he's doing with Digging in the Crates in Durham. He's also going to be a part of the Beats and Bars Festival. Are you going to be a part of the Beats and Bars Festival in Durham as well? Like I said, we have amazing people here in North Carolina. We want to continue to support one another, especially our minorities and our allies who are coming apart to help push the culture and support. And we want to continue to grow this. So I appreciate you guys for joining us. And yeah.
Thank you guys. This is awesome.
Thank you.